about tonight's series finale of Arrow. Series. I'm always like, hey, well, hey, here's this episode of Arrow, and it's the series finale. That's crazy. I'm really excited about it. Not so good. The series over. We finally got to a real finale. I know we talked on here about how there've been several episodes, I guess, so far that have in some way been like a finale, but it's probably most finale-ish of all the finale episodes. In fact, the entire thing was really a denouement. So for those who have not been studying grade 11 high school English, that is a wrap-up that happens after the final climax and resolution. So a lot of times a finale is final conflict, and then your last few months are the denouement, which is here's what happened after everything is over. And tonight's episode was all denouement. It was all here's what happens after everything is over, treating the crossover as the final crisis, fully intended in the plot. And last week is obviously it was just enough platform, whatever, was fine for the book. And now we have the denouement story of just for 1 hour or 43 minutes of here's what happens after. So thank you everyone who's already joining. As always, and perhaps for the last time ever, we will be rating tonight's episode on a scale from 1 to 5. 1 being you hated everything about it. It was the worst TV finale you've ever seen, which would be kind of crazy because there's been some really bad TV finales out there. Not named How I Met Your Mother. Or number 5 being the best finale you've ever seen, which would also be, I don't know, there's been some pretty good series finales. There's one in particular we're going to get into. I'd like to hear what happened today, and I am so excited. Stormy's reading in the chat. She says she's giving it a 5 out of 5. Yes, we got some positive ratings, and I'm really excited to see that. Also, okay with negative ratings too. Negative sisters hold down the fort as well, or bros, or whatever you want. But I'm excited to see some 5 out of 5s. It's so hard to rate a finale. It's so hard to rate a finale and not wait all the prior episodes of this Nate, and then the whole entire show, and the finale itself tonight. It was preceded by an entire. They marketed it as a 2-hour finale. It wasn't a 2-hour finale. It was a 1-hour finale. They just had an hour prior to it, the 8 o'clock time slot, where they had like a cast interview recap, all of that, which is great, all for it. But it was really a 1-hour finale. Mia, Felicity, Dig, and Oliver all made me cry. Yeah, you can really like a smudge. I've got a cold in my heart, but it did melt at a few points in tonight's episode. Before we get into that, I'll mark rating down as 4.3 out of 5. Maybe 4.5 out of 5. I don't know, that scene was so good, it makes me want to give it a 5 out of 5, but I know overall the entire finale wasn't necessarily a 5 out of 5. But it was good. It was up there. Let's get into what our favorite moments were from tonight's episode. And for the sake of, I know we already went over that it's released 1-hour finale, but I'll be picking my favorite moments from the actual episode. I thought that little 1-hour recap thing was fantastic. It kind of seemed like a DVD special or something in a way, I guess, but like cast reviews or whatever, but picking from the actual 9 o'clock hour. A favorite moment? Okay. So, top of the list was, of course, the actual finale when Oliver and Felicity reunite, and they tie it back to the first moment he ever saw her, but it was the actual first moment he ever saw her, not red pen which was also fabulous, and they had like hints about it the entire time. That was so good. And then that one scene, I would give 5 out of 5. I won't give the whole episode 5 out of 5, but that one scene was so good. Raquel, she's giving it a 3 out of 5. Ooh, that's different from a 5 out of 5. Raquel, I want to hear what your top favorite moments were and what your least favorite moments were. What are the things that gave it those 3 points? What are the things that knocked it down to? I think the things that really gave it those high marks for me, where I had like a 4.3 or whatever, is the presence of Felicity Smoke, which we've definitely been missing, and also the presence of the Queen family in general. Stormy has not had no arrows to the they did a segment Felicity got but yeah, referencing the thing. Carrie and saying there are some audio issues. You know, this had some audio issues last week as well, and unfortunately there was nothing I could do to get that to work. But I don't know if you can hear or not, but if you stay tuned to the end of the episode, I have a little bit of news about how they fix that. Stormy says, my favorite scene was the end. I love Big's eulogy and Felicity meeting Mia. Oh, also up there was Felicity meeting Mia. Oh my goodness, that was such a good scene, and definitely worth the wait. You really dragged it out, rightfully so. Episode of her really begging for on TV, and I like that thoughtfulness because, you know, there's other shows. I'm always here. Let's just drag Flash for old time's sake. I'm always here to drag other shows for not taking into consideration things like time travel and with the time and not taking it seriously. And Felicity and Mia, we did take seriously this idea of Felicity mentioned in the episode. Oh, you can in the future, she's going to mess up the future. And likewise, Felicity is like, she was just teething this morning, you know, like, I haven't seen her become a hero. I'm not so sure I should mess with that. That thoughtfulness, that care when it comes to, you know, something that they could be really flippant about is what makes it so realistic and meaningful when they do meet. They actually thought through pros and cons of here's what could happen good and here's what could happen bad about us meeting, here's what we might mess up, and here's how we're gonna have this meeting go, and it's not gonna be some dumb thing where we're trying to be like, well, I need to give you some warning of what's gonna happen in the future, or I need to give you some warning about what happened in the past, but they're actually just allowing themselves to enjoy that emotional moment without missing everybody else. Big goodness. Okay. And Dig's eulogy, oh my goodness, fantastic, and I love it. The episode, in terms of setting up for a spinoff, obviously last week's episode was setting up for a spinoff for Mia Smoke, which was great, but this week's episode, you know, we have this setup for a spinoff of Diggle, so I love that the two the last season ever, and a million spinoffs been leashed off since then. The two halves of OTA finally got their due. Gabrielle says, listen, at Heroes and Villains Fan Fest in Chicago years ago, I asked Stephen Amell about telling Felicity about seeing Felicity in 3.14, and he finally came through. Gabrielle, you did this. This was all you. Yeah, I really had mixed emotions back when they showed that Oliver had seen Felicity before the Felicity Smoke High and Oliver Queen episode moment, because while that was nice, that was touching, it was very shippy when it aired. I also really did like their actual first meeting. Obviously, the meaningfulness of it is apparent. You know, the behind the scenes stuff, how it was supposed to be this like cutesy little one-off scene, and they were like, he lights up around her. Let's make her the leading lady of the whole show. Like, that's a huge, big deal, massive Cinderella story, right? And so I wasn't sure I liked them taking that away ish by adding the fact that he had met her prior to sort of try to make that moment more meaningful, when I thought it was meaningful enough as is. But the way that they actually ended up, number one, doing it, number two, bringing it back, and number three, actually giving them their due in the end, they sold me on it. It's cheesy prior to the first red pen meet cute, but I'm there. They got me in the end. Raquel says, I love the Felicity and Oliver final scene, even though I don't totally understand what's happening. Everything else felt hella rushed and disjointed. So Raquel is, and she adds, Arrow needed 2 hours to wrap. And of course, they really did only get one. The first hour was just sort of a recap thing. So she's referencing her rating earlier, where she gave it a, I think she gave it a 3 out of 5, saying she loved the Oliver and Felicity bit at the end, so that's what's giving it those 3 points. But everything else felt really rushed and disjointed. I do agree that there were some rushed and disjointed moments, and there were some pieces which arguably just didn't even get wrapped up at all. So the entire Siren / Laurel 4.0 thing and Detective Lance didn't get wrapped up at all. Detective Lance, his entire storyline didn't get wrapped up at all, and there were several things they could have brought back in for him. For example, his past romance with Mama Smoke, which would have been fabulous to tie into a finale, didn't get wrapped up at all. However, they did pick and choose some things which could get wrapped up, which were totally unexpected to me. Like, who saw Nyssa and Sarah getting back together? I loved that. I thought they were one of the best, most misused romances the show has done, other than Oliver and Felicity, of course. And I was crushed when they broke them up back in, what was it, like season 3 or whatever, season 2. I was crushed because I was like, these could be these cool assassin girlfriends. I love it. I love where they could go with it. They broke them up so she could bang Oliver Queen one last time. Tragic. Nyssa was gone. I was crushed. Anyways, they brought that back together. And loved that. So if they do have to pick and choose storylines to wrap up and to fix, I do agree that they dropped the ball on some, but the ones that they did choose to wrap up or apply some band-aids to, I did like. Stormy says, Barry interrupting the mother-daughter moment. I said to my TV, go sit in a corner and shut up, Barry. I thought the same thing, actually. I was like, why are you here? You couldn't save Oliver. You couldn't save the universe. You didn't try to die trying. Like, all of this. You showed up for the funeral. Like, none of the other Flash cast showed up for the funeral. I thought they would bring in some of the... Not that I'm complaining. I don't need this episode to turn into a semi-Flash episode, but I thought they'd have more heroes showed up. But they just have Barry and Carr. Anyways, Barry was a waste of space, and he fulfilled his, thematic duty of one last time interrupting Queen family moments. But what he lacks in quality, he makes up for in consistency, guys. Brian Perez says, Flash didn't even use his powers to fight the Shadow Demons or the Anti-Monitors. That Barry made was of guilt. I'm mixing up the words there, but I feel like we got there in the end. Brian didn't wait. And I fully agree. And in fact, you're saying exactly what I said, but you said when you just read it. Stormy says, wait, Barry, that William got kidnapped in your city. Real job looking after Oliver's family. I really love that we could come together one last time, not only to celebrate Arrow's demise, but also to drag Barry one last time. He really earned that. Raquel said, I did enjoy the David spinoff for sure. So excited for that. Listen, I thought, way back, you flash back to season 5 and season 6, I was like, end the show, end all the spinoffs, please don't run this into the ground, supernatural style. Please, let us end some dignity. Well, I don't know, maybe I lost my dignity along the way, maybe I never had it, but now I'm at a place where give it all the spinoffs, that's fine. You get a spinoff, you get a spinoff, I'm for it. I'll watch Diggle spinoff on HBO, I'll watch Mia's spinoff, I'll watch almost anybody else's spinoff as well. Not Renee. Never Renee. Renee can get a spinoff. Let's not be too generous. I'll watch almost anybody else's spinoff. So it's interesting, Lila, their kids, and Dinah are all moved to Superman City. Huh. I find it really funny. I'm just saying my business on that topic. And how I feel about I was gonna go, and how it still might, depending on where that interesting group of people get located. But more on that later, when I end up in a inevitably watching that show. Carrie Johnson says, so with Diggle getting the Green Lantern ring, oh, never mind, we're not going off that topic. We're still on that topic. Right there with you, Carrie. Let's go. With Diggle getting the Green Lantern ring, shouldn't that mean he'll be joining the other heroes now or not? It's hard to ignore that. I think if he turns into Green Lantern, he's switching networks, which honestly good for him and more power to him. Like, David Ramsey didn't want to do a spin-off on the CW. You didn't want David Ramsey to do a spin-off on the CW. I didn't want David Ramsey to do a spin-off on the CW. I wanted to do a spin-off, just not on the CW. Like, listen, let me tell you the difference between David Ramsey and the rest of the cast. The rest of the cast works out at what is essentially like hipster CrossFit. David Ramsey goes to a powerlifting gym because he's an adult and has been an adult this entire time, and he deserves to have a spin-off that's not on the CW network. That's all I have to say about that. Moving right along. Right there with you, though, Carrie. Summer says, I'm all for Nyssa and Sarah. And Carrie echoes, but how are Nyssa and Sarah getting back together when Sarah is with Ava? I have a really simple answer to that, and my answer is I don't know who Ava is. I do not watch Legends, so I'm not required to care about that. And I only like Nyssa and Sarah getting back together. More power to the Sarah and Ava shippers. I'm sure she's lovely. I've vaguely seen pictures of her. She's some like pretty blonde girl, and that's great. But Katrina Law has my heart, so I'm a Nyssa Sarah shipper, and I'm fortunate to not have to take sides because I don't know who Ava is. Problem solved. Okay, now normally we go into after open cons. We go into what would you like to see next? But number one, we can't really get into that because the finale already aired. We only have 3 more minutes left together before I disintegrate and you never see me again. And there will be no future episodes. Asterisk. But wait, there's more. There is actually more probably coming. Number one, we already touched on the fact that there is probably a Diggle spinoff coming. Number 2, there will probably be a Mia Smoke spinoff, which is not really the name. Like, we all know it's going to be Green Arrow and the Canaries, and I'm only going to care about Green Arrow. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Here to do it again. Once again, we're not in season 5 or 6 anymore. No dignity left. Like, I'm going to be here covering the spinoffs regardless. I don't know about y'all. So, when both of those spinoffs happen, my question is, and maybe we don't have an answer to this, maybe this is too soon, what do you want to see from them? What do you want to see from a Diggle spinoff, and what do you want to see from a Smoke Ladies spinoff? I think based on the way I phrase I want to see from the Smoke Ladies spinoff, I'd love to see Felicity pop up once in a great while, just as a, special return, and I want to see Mama Smoke show up on it. On a Diggle spinoff, you can probably tell from my previous comment what I would like to see, which is it not be on the CW, so David Ramsey can have a true adult show, not on a teen network. Dear God. Other than that, I'll take whatever I can get. It's been a wild 8 years. So with that, I have about 2 minutes left, and I will wrap this up with final thoughts. If you have any final thoughts, sappy, snarky, salty, otherwise, feel free to drop them in the chat. First, thank you for being on these wild after shows. I have been through various versions of reviewing Arrow. At one point, I was writing articles. At one point, I was doing these tweet recaps. I ran these movie night tweet events during some seasons. I did interviews that I posted as articles on another site for a couple seasons. I wrote for Strike Magazine for some seasons. I did live shows with Smile Time for a while, and now here I am on YouTube. And the one thing that's been consistent amongst the let me jump around and try different things every 6 months has been that getting to interact with other fans, other people watching the show, has been more fun than literally anything else about the show. And I've got to do really cool, fun things with the show. I've gone to cons, I've met the cast, I've met Emily, I've met Steven, I've met David, I've met pretty much most of the cast. Meeting other fans, talking to other fans on these sort of It's really what's made it special, because when I started watching the show, I had just moved to a new city, and I didn't really have anybody to like sit and watch TV live with. And it was back in literally 2012. It was 2012, and I was watching the show on a laptop during like a long road trip in the fall. So it would have been like, I was trying to wrap up a couple episodes after it just started airing, and it was hard for me to watch because I had just moved to a new city, and I was used to being surrounded by people who'd watch TV with me, and I didn't have that anymore. And as I tweeted about this earlier today, I actually quit the show middle of season 1, and I was, I love this blonde IT girl, and I don't think she's gonna show back up, and I don't really have anybody to complain to about the show, whatever, so I kept watching it. And then at the end of season 1, I figured out there was this entire fandom, there was this entire group of people who loved watching the show and liked the same things about the show as me, and in fact said blonde IT girl was coming back as a regular. It was mind-blowing to me, and that was my first real experience with sort of this online fandom world, which was very new and different, and it was different then than what it looks now. And everything that I had done with fandom before had been mostly tied to not TV, I guess I'll say that. So it was a wild, exciting way for me to get to talk live with people while watching TV in the way that I always had when I had people around me before I was in this sort of new city with no one within, many hours of travel near me. So that became like watching TV with family to me, and this show was probably the first one I did that with, and you guys are many of the ones that I did that with, and are certainly the ones I'm doing that with now. So this was longer than 2 minutes, but thank you, because that was really special to me and really helped me feel at home for, an hour or so a week at least. So thank you. Now, let me jump into the chat and see what you guys would like to see in those spin-offs. Stormy says Oliver and Felicity, if they got put in the Paradise Dimension, they can come back out, as that's happened in the comics with Kal-El. Ooh, that would be fun to see like an Oliver and Felicity in another universe spin-off, or to see them pop up on maybe Mia spin-off that way. Carrie says I want to see a Diggle Green Lantern spin-off that pumps money into the FX and could lead to movie options. Yes, absolutely. Strongly agree. Co-sign. Signing my name on the dotted line. Stormy says I want an FTA spinoff without canaries. If we need canaries, just do one and have it be Zoe. Zoe would be a fabulous canary carrying the canary name, and I do want to see more FTA, Future Team Arrow, in the spinoff as opposed to Green Arrow and the Canaries. I really am more interested in this Future Team Arrow dynamic. I get the appeal of having this Green Arrow and the Canaries dynamic, and it's all, like girl power, whatever, like I'm right there with it, but I think that these are not the Canaries to make it happen. We want like Zoe, I think, Diggle, I think would be good. There's a couple other sort of options that can give more of a younger, kind of fresh kind of feel, as the new Green Arrow and the Canaries spinoff, or the Mia Smoke spinoff, is going to need that sort of younger, fresh feel to feel separate and different from Arrow, because Arrow was always the oldest show of the Arrowverse lineup, which I like that for it, but now we got to move the other direction to be sort of the youngest, freshest show, I think. Okay. All of that being said, as this is the last technically real Arrow live show situation, all of the thank yous before, and I will also say that, as you've noted, and in fact, Cal noted this earlier in the podcast, the streaming quality of this, I've been streaming through stage 10, if you didn't know, has been kind of crappy, and I'm complaining about it for the past couple weeks, maybe even longer, and a cool platform called TV Co actually reached out to me and offered to help support me in some streaming stuff and get me hooked up with, just better quality live streaming, whatever, that's more compatible with all of the, different mobile devices or whatever. So starting next week, actually, probably on Wednesdays around 9 p.m., I'm doing a sort of superhero win chat around the topic of just any last remaining superheroines on Supergirl, Flash, Batwoman, probably more Batwoman, a lot of Batwoman, Marvel, DC, whatever. I'll be doing a little chat about mostly superheroines around 9 p.m. on Wednesdays on TV Show. So my information, as you know, is in the description down below, and I'll be tweeting about that. But all of that to say, this is not technically goodbye, because I'll never shut up. You can't buy my silence, and I'll still be talking about superheroines moving forward, and inevitably when there's a Mia Smoke or Diggle spinoff, I'll be talking about that too. But next week I'll be trying TV Co, where maybe you'll actually be able to hear me because they have D's audio quality. Raquel's like, yay, congrats. Yes, I'm very excited to be trying a platform that may actually work with some level of quality. Carrie says, thanks for taking us on this Arrow Red Cami. Thank you, Carrie, for coming along. And not goodbye forever, but until next time, thank you for joining me. This is Cami. Goodbye.